With blessings on you today, this is Don Finto with Caleb Global, just bringing you these little short messages that are stirring in me that might just help you. Years ago, there were four words out of Hebrews 12 that really challenged me, and I remember I remember preaching a sermon on them while I was still a pastor at Belmont. And the words are in Hebrews 12, verse 7. Endure hardship as discipline. Whatever kind of hardship we're going through, consider that the Lord is using it as discipline. Now, discipline in the Lord's eyes is not just because we've done something not good, disciplined. Let God use it to form you. And I think of two examples immediately that of people that I have known. One I knew casually, the other one I knew much more and do know much more. And that's our friend Steve Allen and all of his family. Endure hardship as discipline. God is absolutely producing something beautiful in this man, his wife, his children, those around him. None of us would ever have hoped that that's the way that it would happen. But God has used it. He didn't send it, but he's using it. I thought of Johnny Erickson and how she's used the disability that she's had through the years. She's used it to the glory of God. I remember in a restaurant one time that I was fascinated with a family across the room. I couldn't keep my eyes off of them, and I didn't know why. But the way they were relating to each other. But when they got up to leave, I noticed that one of the three children was Down syndrome. So I had to get up and go over and talk to them and just tell them what had happened to me, that I was so attracted to them because something unusual was going on in their family. And I said, obviously, you wouldn't have chosen this, but it's producing something good in you. You're yielding to it. So that's one of the kinds of endure hardship as discipline. But supposing you have financial challenges. Paul said, I've learned how to be content with plenty, and I've learned how to be content when I'm in want. In all circumstances, I can be content. Martha and I knew what it was like to have not very much. There were times when we didn't know how we were going to pay our bills. And then there are times when we flourished. But in every situation, endure hardship. If you don't have very much, be grateful for what you have. And endure that season as discipline. God is working something in you. If you're in a season of flourishing, and I know this sounds strange, but you have so much you really don't know what to do with it. I mean, seriously, you don't know who to give to, what to do. God is using it to discipline us. And discipline us simply means to form us into his image. Well, the third area that I thought of was relational challenges. Maybe there's somebody who's turned against you. Maybe they've even accused you of something you didn't do. Maybe they simply disappointed you and you're living with great disappointment. A husband left you, a wife left you, children disappointed you, parents disappointed you, friends disappointed you, people have forsaken you. Endure hardship, all hardship, as discipline. God will use it. And then now, this strange worldwide season that we're all in, this coronavirus pandemic that we're in, none of us like what's happening. I talked with one of my precious Israeli friends this morning, and they are just devastated in some ways. They're not able to meet with their closest friends. They're not able to have weddings or funerals or congregational meetings the way they have, or even in the prayer house the way they've done it. It's devastating. But God is wanting to use it to produce something beautiful in us. And so Paul goes ahead and says in this Hebrews 12, he says, endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? And if you're not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, get that really well, then you're not legitimate nor true sons and daughters. So God has to allow something in us that will get rid of the things that need to be gone so that we can become more and more into the image of Jesus. We've all had human fathers who disciplined us, he says. Now, some of us didn't have human fathers that are even around, but the principle is there. And they disciplined us, and we respected them for it. But how much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a little while as they thought best. But God disciplines us for our good, in order that we may share in his holiness. He disciplines us. Hardship can discipline us for our good, that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest. I pray this over you and me and us in any kind of hardship. Later on, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who are trained by it. But if we're not trained by it, it produces a harvest of bitterness and resentment. And so the writer of the Hebrew letter says, so therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and your weak knees. Make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. Make every effort to live in peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and so a bitter root causes trouble and defile many. Remember, if we're disciplined and it doesn't produce a harvest of righteousness and peace, it produces bitterness. And so the writer goes ahead and says, see that no one is sexually immoral. Isn't that a strange thing to say? But sometimes when we're in a place of just, we get bitter and we feel like we deserve something different, and it can produce sexual immorality or all kinds of things if we don't get rid of it. And so no matter what's been happening, what anybody's done against us, we must learn to forgive and bless them. Pray for enemies. Love those who despitefully use us. Treat every hardship as discipline. God is producing in us righteousness, peace, and holiness. I pray that all of us, we will lean into this to the glory of God. God bless you.